Okay, so any seated position that works with you, we're going to start there. So I find cross-legged quite uncomfortable for my knees, so sometimes kneeling works a little bit better. You can also use a block or a bolster or something to sit on. You just want to be comfortable in the hip area mainly, hips and knees. I'm going to be here just for a minute or so to do some breath awareness before we start moving. Okay, so settle yourself into your seat. Sit nice and tall, let your shoulders relax. Maybe just have a few shoulder rolls just to release anything that's going on. So a few shoulder rolls backwards and then take them forwards as well. Okay, and then just bring the shoulders all the way up to your ears. So squeeze them up really high and then drop them down. And then do that again. So squeeze them up as high as you can. And then just drop and let them go. Okay, and then settle either palms up or palms down on the legs, the knees, wherever feels comfortable, just so we can sit tall through the spine. Make sure that the back of the neck is lengthened as well. So you can if you bring your chin slightly down towards your chest, it'll just elongate the back of the neck. And then just take a nice big deep breath in. Close your eyes as you exhale. And then just arrive at your mat. And as always, we're just going to start by noticing and focusing on the breath. So starting by being aware of your regular breath. Not changing it in any way, but just noticing the depth, the length, how it feels, where you can feel it within the body, which parts of your body react to the breath. And then as you exhale, just feel yourself soften more into your seat. So whether you are cross-legged or on your knees, just feel that connection into the earth beneath you grow deeper. So keep breathing in energy, fill up the body with breath. Exhale, grounding yourself down into the mat. Let's make the breath longer and deeper. So send the breath past the ribs as you inhale, past the lungs and into the belly perhaps, so allow your belly to balloon as well. On your next exhale, really focus on relaxing your facial muscles. So soften the forehead, the jaw, the cheeks. Inhale, really fill up. Remember, allow the belly to balloon. This exhale, let the shoulders drop down even more away from the ears. So really just let the shoulder blades knit together down the back. Long, slow inhale. And on your next exhale, I want you to activate the navel. So pull the navel back in towards the spine, just slightly to bring some activation into the lower core. Okay, and then just allow the breath to be long and deep. So breathing in nice and slowly, keeping that length to the breath. On your next inhale, I want you to count how long the breath lasts for. So just breathing in, maybe it will be a count of 4 or a count of 5. And then again, count the exhale, see how long the exhale is. See if they're about the same, or if the exhale is slightly longer, maybe. Just counting the breath in and counting the breath out. And on your next round of breath, make it 1 count longer. So making it even longer. So if it was a count of 4, make it 5 this time and so on. Do both for your inhale and your exhale. So really slowing the breath, calming the mind, the body, the breath, the heart rate, just calming everything down throughout the body. Keep doing this. Keep making the breath longer if you can. Can you add another count onto the breath? So we should all be working to our own rhythm, our own breath. Just notice how that feels, what that count is. Does it make your body feel any different by making it a bit longer, a bit deeper? Good, just do a few more rounds. Check that the facial muscles are still relaxed and soft. The spine is still tall, the navel is still pulled in towards the spine, and the shoulder blades are nipping together. And then when you're ready, set yourself an intention of focus for practice today. That could be to connect with your breath throughout the practice. So once we start flowing with the breath, we make the whole practice quite meditative and quite mindful. That could be an aim, a goal, something to work towards today. All right, when you're ready, bring your hands into prayer at heart center. Just press the thumbs into the center of the sternum. Make sure we're still sitting nice and tall, and then inhale, raise your arms up towards the ceiling, keeping the gaze forward to begin with. Exhale, just circle them down by your sides, and then inhale, take the arms up again, reach up nice and high. See if you can pull the arms back so that they are either next to the ears or back past the ears. So we're trying to open up the chest as well. So we get a nice big stretch through the front of the chest. Really feel your shoulder blades squeezing together at the back. As you exhale, slowly release them down. Good. Inhale, take them up. This time, let's look up towards our hands. So the head can go back slightly. And now breathe into the chest. Pull the belly in and try and push your chest up towards the ceiling a little bit more. Exhale, circle the arms all the way down to the mat. Okay, one more inhale. As we reach up, let's interlace the fingers. Turn the palms to the ceiling and push them up and away. So we get a nice big stretch here. And then as you exhale, bring the arms in front of you, turn your palms towards you, bring your chin into your chest and round the spine. So as if you're hugging a really big tree, bring your chin in. Now pull your belly in and really rounding those arms so you stretch through the back, the upper back, shoulder blade area. All right, inhale, let's take the arms up. And then drop the left hand down to the floor, reach the right arm over to work into the side body. So if we are cross-legged, keep your right sit bone grounded. If we are on our knees, just keep your bottom onto your heels. So we don't want to be lifting up at all. So keep grounded in the center and reach the arm over deeper. If you are cross-legged, you may want to bring your forearm down to the mat if it feels okay. And then we can, if it feels right for your neck, turn and look towards your top hand. And then reach that arm over even further to get the stretch all the way through the side body. And then inhale, raise it back up, both arms towards the ceiling. Let's take it the other way. Right hand down, left arm reaches over. Remember to keep that left sit bone grounded. Or the bottom on the heels, whichever one variation you're going for. So if you want to bring your forearm down, you can if you're cross-legged. And then turn up towards that top hand if the neck feels okay. Breathe into your left rib cage to really open up those little spaces. Good, go deeper if you can. Really get into that stretch. Lovely. Inhale, rise up, reach to the ceiling. And then let's come forward and let's make our way onto hands and knees. So into tabletop position. So making sure that the knees are underneath our hips, hands are underneath our shoulders. Have a nice flat back position. So keep some activation into the core area. Extend your right leg towards the back of the room. Flexing the foot. So right leg extends back. And then see if the left arm can reach forward. So it's opposite arm to leg to make a Superman. All right. So just keep the spine in a neutral, the neck, in a neutral position. So we're not lifting the head up too much. We're just looking forward on the mat. Now keep the core nicely engaged and draw the knee and the elbow under the body just to touch them together. And then extend them out. And then inhale, bring them back in. So knee and elbow touch and extend. And one more time, bring the knee and the elbow into touch. And then push them out, extend. Bring your heel to your bottom, reach back and maybe touch the foot or get hold of the foot. And if you've got hold of it, see if you can push the foot into the hand and lift that thigh a little bit higher. So lifting the right thigh up. You should feel a stretch through the left shoulder here as well. So keep looking forward, keep the core nicely engaged. And then release back down into your tabletop. We'll change that to the other side. So left leg extends out behind us, foot is flexed, and then the right arm can reach forward. So we don't want the back to collapse. So you want a nice flat back. So keep your core engaged and turned on. Flex the back foot. And then as you inhale, draw the knee and the elbow underneath to touch. Exhale out. And then inhale, bring it in. And push out. Good. Once more. Knee and the elbow touch. So crunching together. Exhale, push out. Heel to bottom, reach back. Can we get hold of that foot perhaps? And push the foot into the hand. Lift the left thigh. Now let your right shoulder roll back. You can look forward here. So pushing the foot into the hand, lifting the thigh a little bit more, and then just release it back down into your neutral position. Just move the hips from side to side. See how that's made your back feel. And then as you inhale, lift the head and tilt your tailbone back, just working with cat-cow. Exhale, round the spine, chin to chest, tailbone tucks. Inhale, head lifts, tailbone tilts back, and then exhale, rounding, pushing the floor away, pulling the belly button up. Once more, inhale, lift up. And then exhale, let's round. And then release back into neutral. Take your knees wider so that they are like mat distance apart. Make your big toes touch at the back and then push back so your bottom comes onto your heels. So depending on how this feels, you can either bring the hands underneath the forehead to rest or keep the arms extended forward and let your forehead touch the mat into your extended child's pose. So if you've got your arms extended forward, creep them as far forward as you can so your elbows are lifted, so we've got a nice active posture. If the hands are underneath the head, just take some breaths here and really focus the breath into your back ribs. Breathing in through the nose. You can breathe out through the nose or mouth if you want to take a cleansing breath. It's quite nice to take a nice big inhale and then sigh the exhale out. It's as if you're just getting rid of all the stress and the tension that you're holding on to within the body. Okay, so that's your resting posture if you need it at any point during the practice. Let's everybody bring your hands forward again, up towards the top of the mat. They want to be about shoulder distance apart. And then pull yourself up so you're on hands and knees. Doesn't matter if the knees aren't directly underneath the hips for this one. We're just going to get the triceps and the upper body working. So on your hands and knees, we need to think about turning your inner elbows forward. So the eyes of your elbows, turn them to face forward. As we exhale, we're going to go into a little push-up. So keeping the elbows in, lower the chest down to the mat. So your bottom isn't dropping down first, your bottom comes down last. And then push back up and then push your bottom onto your heels. So we inhale to come onto hands and knees. We exhale to lower, elbows are into the ribs. Then we push back up onto our hands and knees and then sit back into child's pose. We're going to do 2 more of those. All right, so inhale, come forward. Then lower, elbows tight, push back up and push your bottom back. The closer your knees are to your hands, the easier it is, just to clue that one. One more, come up and lower down slowly. Let's turn those arm muscles on, push back up and then push your bottom all the way back. Good. This time we're not going to come back up. So come forward and then I just want you to lower down onto your tummy. So come all the way down and then release yourself to lay down. Untuck your toes. So get into a nice comfortable position, laying on your tummy with your hands underneath your shoulders. Look directly in front of you towards the top edge of your mat and then just pushing into the top of the feet. So the legs are active, the kneecaps may lift. Just lift and squeeze your shoulder blades together. So just lifting the shoulders off the mat. We're not putting any pressure into the hands. Just working and waking up the lower back. Exhale, lower the head down. And then again, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Just lifting the heart space, looking forward. Exhale, lower down, release. Once more, inhale, lift up. Squeezing and lifting, core is engaged, your legs are still active and turned on. Exhale, carefully lower all the way back down. Hands are under the shoulders. Let's push up, hands and knees. We're going to move to downward facing, so tuck your toes, tuck those toes under. Now, push your bottom back onto your heels. So rather than coming from hands and knees, we're going to push our bottom all the way back. Then keep your chest as close to your thighs as you can, and then lift your knees and slowly straighten the legs. Okay, so we want to keep pushing that chest back towards the thighs if we can. And then here we can take a pedal out of the legs. So bending one leg then the other, just alternating, pushing those heels down to the floor. And then we tend to forget about our hands in downward facing dog. So I want you to just pay attention to your hands for a moment. So middle or forefinger is pointing forwards. All of your other fingers are splayed. Okay, so we want to use the finger pads, the knuckles and the wrist all equally. So we're not just dumping the weight into one area. So spread those fingers out nice and wide. Your hands should be about shoulder distance. And we always want to have equal pressure going through your hands. So we don't want to be just relying on one side. So just notice what's going on with your hands. Then turn your attention back towards your feet. Have a look at your feet. And you should have 4 really strong points of contact with the mat in your downward facing. Give the head a shake, so just release any neck tension. Let the neck be long and the head be nice and heavy. Relax your facial muscles. Even do a little to release out of the cheeks if you want to. And then as you inhale, let's lift up onto our toes, come forward and into a strong plank position. So the shoulders should come kind of over the fingertips, and then lift the hips again and push the heels down. So we lift up onto the toes, roll forward into a plank, so a nice strong plank, then lift the hips again and push the heels down. Once more, lift up onto your toes, come forward into plank. Good, then lift the hips, push the heels down, then start walking your feet up towards your hands. So slowly just walking the feet forward, top of the mat. Keep them hip distance apart, soften the knees off, let your chest come onto your thighs, and then take hold of opposite elbows in a ragdoll position. Again, just make sure the neck is long, the head is heavy. You can have a sway or a rock here if you want to. Feels quite nice on the legs, especially if you have tight hamstrings, if we run a lot or if we sit down a lot, the hamstrings can get super tight. Release your arms to the floor and let's slowly roll up to standing. Really super slow, head comes up last. Awesome. Once the head comes up, give your shoulders a roll back and down and bring your feet together. So big toes are touching at the top of the mat. Let's turn the palms to face forward. Take an inhale here. Open the mouth, sigh it out. Exhale, good. Inhale, let's take the arms up to the ceiling. Palms touch together. And exhale, swan dive. Come down and fold over your legs. Halfway lift to hands onto the shins or floor. Lengthen through the spine from the coccyx to the top of the head. And then bend the knees, hands to the mat. Step back with the right foot. Let's sink those hips nice and low. Get into a runner's lunge. Just have a little rock forward and back. So we're coming onto the top of the big toe, the right foot. And just rocking forward and back. So we're really working into the ankle joint at the back and also into our hip here. All right, step back into plank. So both feet together at the back. If you want to, in fact, first one, let's drop the knees down. And then we're lowering again with the elbows tight, the chin coming forward. Then release yourself, lay down, push into the hands, lift into your back bend. So we may stay with our baby cobra, or you might want to go a bit higher. See how the back feels, look forward, shoulders are down. And then keep the knees down, sit back, take a child's pose. Just passing through, so back onto hands and knees. Tuck your toes, push your chest back onto your thighs like we did before. Then slowly come up and into your downward facing dog. Good, now walk your feet forward again. Same as before, walking up to the top of the mat. Feet to hip distance. Interlace your fingers, place them onto the back of your head. And let's take a bit of weight into the balls of our feet. Soften the knees if necessary. And then again, you can sway, you can rock, whatever feels nice here, just to wake up the backs of the legs. Feel all the blood going into the head. Take an inhale. Exhale, just allow the upper body to hang deeper. Release your arms down, roll up the spine nice and steady all the way to the top. Let's give the shoulders a roll back and down, bring the feet together, turn the palms forward, breath in, sigh it out, let it go. Inhale, arms up. Let's do the same on the other side. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift, so lengthen here. Hands can be on the shins. Hands to the floor, knees bend, step back. Left foot, sink into those hips. So keeping the hands framing that front foot. And then let's rock forward and back. Just to warm up the ankle, the toes, and into the right hip. Good. Okay, let's step back the right foot to join the left and into plank. And then lower knees, turn the elbows forward. Elbows stay into the ribs as we lower down. Good. Pushing up into your cobra, your back bend, and then back into child's pose. Bottom goes to the heels, forehead goes to the floor. Come back to tabletop, tuck the toes, push your chest onto your thighs as you slowly come up and into downward facing dog. Lovely. Walk forward again, up to the top. Bring your hands onto your shins, halfway lift, and then exhale, forward fold. Now I want you to soften your knees. So feet are pretty much together here. Nice softness through the knees to begin with. In fact, make it a little bit bigger, a bigger bend into the knees. And then bring your right hand to the center so it's underneath your face. If you need to use a block, you can always place a block underneath your hand. But fingertips on the floor, the right hand is fine. And then from here, we're going to sweep the left arm. So keeping the legs nice and bent, sweep the left arm all the way back. As you take it back, let's see if we can straighten that left leg at the same time. Just the left leg. And we're opening ourselves up. So trying to get the arms into a vertical line. Either look forward or you can look up towards that top hand if it feels okay. And then let's take some weight into the balls of your feet. So kind of rock your weight forward. You should feel a lovely stretch coming down the buttocks and the top of the hamstring on your left side. Good. Breathe into that stretch. Pull the navel back towards the spine a touch more if you can. As you exhale, let's bring the arm forward. As we bring it down to the floor, bend your knee again. So both knees are bent. Let's change sides. So left hand to the floor. Sweep the right arm back. As it goes back, straighten the right leg. And then we come into that hamstring stretch on the other side, yeah? So arms are in a nice vertical line. You can look forward or upwards. And then let's take weight forward into the balls of our feet and into that left hand. So you really get into that stretch down the back of the right leg. Good. Take another breath and then finish the circle with the arm. So bring it forward and all the way down, both knees bend. Okay, we're going to do that with the breath. Ready? So right hand to center. Take an inhale and exhale it out. As you inhale, sweep that left arm back, straighten the left leg. As you exhale, bring it back down and bend both knees. Other side, sweep the right arm back, straighten the right leg. Exhale, bring the arm down and bend. Let's do one more on each side. So sweep back, left arm and all the way over to bend. Last time on the right side, so straighten. And exhale, bring it down. Bring your hands onto your shins, halfway lift, so both legs straighten. Exhale, forward fold. Come up slowly, roll up the spine. Super slow. Once the head comes up, take your arms up to the ceiling, look up, and exhale, hands into prayer at heart center. So we've got a nice stretch through the legs there. Let's continue with that one. So lift up on the inhale. And as you exhale, forward fold. Take your feet a little wider. So just toe heel them apart a touch. So you'd like a fist's distance between them. The peace fingers wrap around your big toe. So take them between the big toe and the second toe and then hook them around the big toe. Okay, as you inhale, lengthen the spine. So grow long. As you exhale, pull on those toes and bring your chest onto your thighs, your forehead towards your shins. If you need soft knees, that's fine. All right, if your hamstrings are super tight, keep the knees soft. But focus on taking weight into the balls of your feet and lifting your tailbone. But use your upper body strength to pull against those toes and pull yourself in towards your legs. Good. Let the facial muscles be relaxed. Let the head just hang heavy.
Inhale, pull the navel in a touch more. Exhale, go deeper. Now, let go of your toes, sit your bottom down, and then bring the arms up and in front of you into a chair posture. So we're reaching the arms to the top corners of the room. If it's too much for the shoulders, bring your hands to prayer. So reaching the arms up, breathe in here. Exhale, let's sit deeper. Try making sure you can see your toes if you look at your knees. Keep sitting the bottom down nice and deep. Really get those legs firing up. Sit down one more time. And then forward fold to release. Step back with your right foot and bring your right knee down onto the floor. Untuck the back toes and then come up, starting just with the hands on the knee. So bring your hands onto your left knee. So ensuring that the heel is underneath the knee. So we've got 90-degree angles with the legs. And then just keeping the hands here, I want you to really activate your legs. So we're going to try to pull our left foot back as we push our right knee forward. And you should feel all of your legs engage. So pull that left foot back as you push your right knee forward to feel that engagement. Then inhale, take your arms up to the sky. Just relax the shoulders down and away from the ears. Keep pulling the navel in towards the spine. Breathe in here. And out. Keep activating those legs. So left foot pulls back, right knee forward. Good. One more breath. Exhale, release the hands down to frame the front foot. With the right hand on the mat, take the left arm up into your twisted lunge. And if you wish, you can tuck the back toe and lift that back knee off the floor to make it stronger. See if you can look towards your top hand. Inhale, reach that hand up higher. As you exhale, pull the left shoulder back a touch. Good. Really breathe into that stretch you've got from your right hand up to your left. Bring the hand down, frame the front foot, step back into downward facing. So both feet to the back of the mat, push your heels to the floor. Come forward into plank, lower knees, chin, chest, or chaturanga, keeping the knees off the mat. Push through into your back bend. And then over the toes, back into downward facing dog. Good. Bend the knees. Look forward, step or jump your feet to the top of the mat. Take that halfway lift and then fold. Good. Sweep the arms up. Inhale, lift up. As you exhale, take your hands behind your back and interlace your fingers. Now really open up the chest. So if you can squeeze your palms together here, do so. So get even tighter, even more into the shoulder area. So squeeze your palms together, open up through the chest. As you exhale, fold, bringing the arms up and over your head. So your forehead is coming down towards your shins. Same principle, take the weight into the balls of your feet, lift your tailbone. Maybe your arms can wiggle over a little bit more to really get into the chest and the shoulder stretch. Let the head be heavy. And just fold, keep going down so the forehead's reaching towards your big toes. Lovely. Take another breath here. Go deeper if you can. And then release your hands to the mat. Bend your knees deep. So we're sitting into our chair again. Bring the arms up and into our chair posture. Just check we can see those toes as we look down. Keep exhaling and sitting down deeper. So knees are together, ankles are next to each other. The arms are reaching up and we keep sitting down. The legs should be nicely engaged, turned on. Exhale, forward fold to release. Lovely. Step back with the left foot. Let's bring the left knee down onto the floor and untuck the back toe. Bring your hands onto the right knee. Just ensure that the knee and the ankle are stacked. So we've got 90-degree angles with our legs. Okay, so we need to activate the legs. So pull the right foot back as you push the right knee forward. Everything should turn on. The legs should be turned on. The bottom should be turned on. So we're really squeezing that right heel back and pushing the left knee forward. Take your arms up on the inhale into your low lunge. Anjaneyasana. Shoulders are relaxed. Gaze is forward. Keep the navel pulling in towards the spine. So your abdomen is turned on as well. Everything should be engaged here. Strong arms. The only thing that's relaxed should be your shoulders and your facial muscles. Good. Take another breath. Exhale to release. Good. Bring your hands down to frame the front foot. Let's take the right arm up to the ceiling. And if you wish, you can lift the back knee to make it into a full twisted lunge. So push the floor away with the left hand, reach the right hand to the ceiling, keep that right hip low so we feel the stretch through the right buttock. If the back knee is lifted, let's push the back knee towards the ceiling so we're really straightening that back leg. Good. Now as you inhale, reach high with the right hand. As you exhale, pull the right shoulder back a touch more to start opening the chest. Then release the hand down to frame the front foot. Step back, downward facing dog. Both heels pushing down towards the mat at the back. Forward to plank. Lower knees, chin, chest, or chaturanga. Keeping those knees lifted. Push through to take your back bend. Roll over the toes, lift your hips. Downward facing dog. Take a breath here. Good, well done. So at the beginning, we talked about the 4 points of contact in downward facing and just checking that we're using the hands and the feet properly, spreading those fingers out wide, just checking with them once more. Every time you return to down dog, it's quite nice to just check in with the mind, the body, the breath, and the foundations of your posture. Down dog's a great one for checking in with that. So just notice the foundations of down dog, these 4 points of contact, and how your body grows away from those foundations and how it feels. All right, let's lift up onto the toes, bend at the knees, look forward, hop, well, jump, or step both feet up to the top. Now lengthen through the spine, hands can come onto the shins, and then fold. Soften the knees and just fold the chest onto the thighs. Come up slowly, roll up the spine, take the arms up and overhead. Exhale, bring them into your heart center in a prayer position. Lovely, well done. All right, we're going to take a balance. So we'll do tree posture. So we're going to start off with the weight in the left foot. So take the weight into the left, spread the toes out on the left side, and then bring the right knee up and into the chest. You can bring the left hand onto the hip to begin. So just get that balance and that tallness through the spine to begin with. And then when you're ready, you can guide the foot into place. So we go above the knee or below the knee, just no excess pressure on the joint. And then bring your hands to prayer. So you choose where it feels better for you on this side. This balance is a hip opener, so we're working on pushing the knee out to the side. Okay, and then hands can start in prayer. Maybe you want to take your prayer up, or you take your arms out. Just let the elbows soften because then the shoulders can relax. You can kind of do anything you want to do with your arms in tree posture. Make sure those left toes are all working to help you balance. And we're not just gripping on for dear life with our feet to the mat. Okay, so all of those points that we talked about as well in seated, so the navel drawing back towards the spine, the shoulder blades nipping together in the center of the back, the shoulders relaxing away from the ears, a nice tall spine, lengthening up through the back of the neck, they all apply here as well. So grow tall in your tree posture and connecting with your breath. What's your breath doing? Is it short and shallow again, or is it still long and deep? Use your inhale to grow you even taller if you can. Good. Take another breath like this. And then we'll slowly bring it back to center. So bringing the prayer back in, and the knee is going to come in front of us. Okay, let's step that foot back. So right foot steps back about half a mat's distance. Check your feet. So you want your feet on train tracks. All right, rather than one in front of the other, have them on train tracks. It will be more, you'll be able to balance a little bit more. And then the prayer hands, you can take those behind your back. So if we can do prayer behind the back, or you can take hold of opposite elbows, just so we keep the chest nice and open. So square your hips to the front of the mat, take a breath in, and then as you exhale, bend forward, bringing your left chest onto your left thigh. So look in front of your left big toe. We might just get to here before the legs start screaming. We might get all the way down towards our thigh, but keep pushing back with the left hip and bringing the right hip forward. You want to keep both of your legs straight and heels down if you can. Again, it's another hamstring stretch. So just breathe into it, use the breath. So inhale, lengthen the spine, exhale to go deeper down. Keep reaching down. If you have got the chest onto the thigh, you can start bringing your forehead down towards your shin if you want to, depending on how deep we are. But keep the hips and the shoulders nicely square. Good. Another couple of breaths like this. So keep working in the breath. Push that left hip back to really get into the stretch. And then let's release the hands slowly. Soften into the front knee. Bring your hands to the top of the mat and let's push into the left leg and bring the right leg up behind us and into a supported warrior three. So you're making like a capital L shape with the legs. Okay, so fingertips are just on the floor. If we need to have that front knee bent, that's fine. But just get that nice shape. Think about lengthening through the spine. Now, as your right hip lifted, bring it back in line. So don't allow the right hip to lift. Keep it next to the left. And then if you bend that right knee, we're going to bring it to the outside of the left foot. Yeah, and then from here, we're going to sit down. All right, so you should be facing forward. I'm just going to turn to face you. So as you're sat down, it's twisted seat. So if you want to put something underneath your bottom to make it more comfortable, do. Or this bottom leg, which should be your right, you can extend that forward. That makes it feel a bit better. See how it feels for your hips if you can keep them both here. You want both sit bones down. Okay, so twisted seat. Remember to push down through your left big toe. It's quite hard to work out which foot, which side's which on this one. All right, so the left hand's going to come behind your back. The right arm's going to reach up towards the ceiling. And then hook the elbow over the knee and turn to face your left side. So turn towards the left. So we're taking a twist. Now really engage the navel. Pull the navel back in so that you can twist and look either over your left shoulder, or you can just stay looking forward if you want to. But the twist is coming from the navel and not from the neck. Okay, so really twisting from the center rather than just the head turning. And push against the knee as well. If it's too much with the elbow, you can just hook that knee into the chest as well. But really use the leverage to twist your shoulders around a little bit more. Really good detoxification posture, this one. So squeeze and twist a little bit deeper if you can. And then we're going to carefully untwist by bringing the hands all the way to the other side and just take a little bend into the elbow. So we take a little bow. Yeah? Okay, so hands at the top of the mat. This front leg, let's take it back. And then push ourselves back into our downward facing. Walk your feet forward again. Come back up to the top. Halfway lift, lengthen. And then just fold, soften off through the knees. Roll up slowly, slowly, slowly. Let's take a big inhale and reach the arms high. And finish with our hands at prayer. Well done. Let's do it onto the other side now. So we should be on the right foot with the left knee into the chest. Remember, we've got tree posture. So spread the toes out nice and wide. Bring the left knee into your chest. Get the balance, hand on hip, right hand on hip to begin. And then choose tree either above or below the knee joint. If we push the foot and the leg into each other equally, it should stay put. All right. And also remind yourself that it's a hip opener. So try and get this knee nice and wide. Hands wherever you want to take them. Prayer, extended prayer, or you can find your branches, but soften the shoulders by bending slightly into the elbows. Okay, good. So use the toes to help you balance. Think about all of those pointers. So navel pulling back in, shoulder blades squeezing together, shoulders dropping away from the ears, growing up nice and tall. Now connecting with the breath. Use the breath to make you grow taller. I always, when I'm in balances like this, I like to think about the inhale starting underneath my foot. And as I breathe in, it travels up and through the body and all the way up and out of the crown of my head. And then as we exhale, we reverse that process. So I always like to visualize the breath traveling the whole length of the body. Kind of distracts you as well, gives you something to think about when you're trying to balance. Good. So keeping it nice and tall, everything is engaged and strong. And then when you're ready, let's bring it back to center. So bring your hands back into prayer, your knee back in front, and then take that half a mat's distance step back. Okay, so I'm just going to turn myself around. So feet are on train tracks. The length of the distance between the legs is about half a mat's distance. If you have really super tight hamstrings, the closer your feet are together, the easier it will be. All right, so take your prayer and reverse it, or get hold of opposite elbows. I find that one so much easier. And then square your hips to the front of the mat. Lift the chest as you inhale, bow down as you exhale, bringing right chest towards your right thigh. So you may find that this side feels better or a bit tighter. See what you're working with for the first couple of breaths. Push the right hip back, pull the left hip forward. Keep looking towards that big toe on the right foot. And move as if you're trying to move your chin towards it. So really lengthen the spine. Really push that hip back into space. And squeeze your shoulder blades together as well, because we don't want to round the spine. We want to keep the spine as long as possible. If you are going deep in this one and you want to bring your forehead back towards your shin, just be careful with that one because it does make you super wobbly. This side's so much tighter for me. So you really need to visualize and work on lengthening the spine on your inhale. And then exhale, we go a little bit deeper. It might just be another millimeter or two, but use the breath. The breath will help you to go deeper. It's amazing. Such an amazing tool to use in yoga. Okay, so a few more breaths like this. Take yourself to your depth if it feels comfortable, and then slowly, carefully release the hands down. Now bend into the right knee. Bring your hands, fingertips forward, so they're in front of that foot. Then push into the right foot. See if you can lift that left leg up behind us and make a capital L shape with the legs. So with that back foot is super strong. So we flex, we're pushing the heel back to make it as strong as possible. If we need to bend this front knee for hamstrings, then do so, that's absolutely fine. But make those legs super duper strong here. Lovely. Now we're going to bend that back knee and bring the left knee to the outside of the right foot. Then sit our bottom down onto the floor. I shall just turn myself to face you. So we're sitting down. Remember, we can always extend the left leg forward if that feels better. But we're in twisted seat. So your sit bones should be between your left heel, and then your right heel is stepping forward, and we're pushing that right big toe into the mat. Yeah, so sit bones are equally grounded on the floor. So you should feel a nice opening into the hips with this one, as well as the twist that we're about to do. So right hand comes behind the back, left arm, reach it up, and then hook the elbow over the knee. Remember, we can just hook the knee in if that feels better. So see if we can hook the elbow and then push the elbow against the knee to turn your torso to the right. So we can just look straight forward, or we can start looking back. Remember, the twist wants to come from the abdomen rather than just turning the head. So don't worry about where you're looking too much. It's more about where your chest is facing and how far back we can pull this right shoulder. Keep that big toe pushing into the mat down there. Don't forget that one. So pull the navel in, twist a little bit deeper if you can. Keep using the breath to take you deeper into it. Good. Keep that spine nice and tall. And very carefully release. Bring your hands all the way over to the left side and just bend the arms. So taking a little bow and then releasing. Well done. So take your hands back up to the top of the mat for me. Sweep your leg back and then turn. Make your way to downward facing dog. depending on which way you're facing. We're going to take a nice slow vinyasa. So from downward facing, come forward and into plank. Let's lower the knees down. Bring chin and chest to the mat. So lowering down, elbows in. Release yourself to lie down. Push through and up into your back bend. And then from there, sit back into child's pose. So bringing the bottom back onto the heels and the forehead just drops down and onto the mat. Well done. Just see how the lower back feels here. If we need to bring the hands underneath the head, we can do that. Just exhaling to release tension. Settling those hips down onto the heels. Let the shoulders be soft too. Lovely. Well done. All right, come back into tabletop. We're going to work on side plank now. So it's the last little bit of strength before we're onto the floor. So it's up to you if you do a modified version or the full version. So we're starting off, start with your hands and your knees. Now think about your hands and spread those fingers out nice and wide. All right, hands are shoulder distance, and always ensure that your shoulders stay over your wrists so you've got a nice strong base. And then if we push the right foot back, we take one leg up and then push the left foot back and we come into a plank, a full plank. Now keeping the right hand under the right shoulder, we're going to go onto the outside edge of the right foot and then take the left arm up. If you want to modify, you can step the top leg forward, okay? And so we've still got this lovely lift of the hips here. So push the hips up and reach. All right, so we can have the feet stacked or staggered, or we can have that step for the modification. And then reach the fingertips to the ceiling. Keep pushing your hips up. Can you look towards that top hand? Good. On the inhale, reach your arm up and overhead. And as you exhale, bring your hand down to your hip. And then inhale, arm up and overhead. And then bring your hand to your hip. You've got one more. Lift it up and overhead. Bring it back down to your hip. Bring it back under your shoulder and push back into regular plank. And back into downward facing. Well done, we've got that to do on the other side. I'm just going to turn myself around. So come forward into plank. Left hand under left shoulder. Onto the outside edge of that foot, take the right arm up. If you wish, we can step the top foot over. Choose your side plank, you can always change halfway through. Ready, we've got those 3 arm movements. So reach over the head. Bring the hand back to your hip. Let's lift those hips. Reach the arms over the head. Bring it back onto your hip. Once more, reach the arm over your head. Lovely, bring it back onto your hip. Bring it back to the floor. Back into plank. Downward facing dog. Fabulous, well done. From downward facing dog. Let me just turn myself around. Take the right leg up into the air, and then we're going to bring the right knee behind the right wrist. Now, for pigeon posture, we generally bring that leg up, but this time we're going to keep it so that it's like you sit on your heel. So the leg's going to not come diagonally underneath us, it's going to stay directly there. All right, if I turn this way, so I'm sitting on that heel, and then I can extend my left leg long. If you feel better with this leg coming under us this way, under you this way, then please do that one. This is just a slight variation. Okay, so bring your hands a little bit further forward for me. See how that feels. Take a breath in. See if we can just sneak that left foot a touch further back. And then we're going to come down onto our forearms. So we're going to keep it, we're not going to go all the way down because we've got the chest will probably be on that thigh. We're just going to come down onto our forearms here. And then this left hip here, we're going to try just to push that down towards the floor a bit more, push into the top of the left foot so we can get into that hip flexor muscle and stretch out there. So our left foot is pushing down, the left knee is probably off the mat, but then we're just tilting that left hip down towards the mat to get into that stretch. Okay, just take a few breaths here. See how it feels. So always listen to your body in any of these postures. Lovely. And then drop the back knee down. Now stay on your forearm. So stay with your left forearm on the floor and just bend that left heel up towards your bottom. Can we reach back with the right hand to get hold of the foot? Now stay looking forward, keep your shoulders facing forward, and if you've got hold of the foot, can we bring the heel in towards the bottom? At the same time as trying to push your hips down, you should get a nice stretch down the front of the quad on the left leg. Okay, so you should get a nice stretch. Be gentle if you have got the stretch. So pull it in towards you and then very carefully release it. Bring your hands back underneath your shoulders, tuck your back toe under, and let's push back to downward facing. So lifting and pushing back. Have a pedal of the legs, just bending one and the other. Let's do that on the other side. Okay, so the left leg lifts. We bring the knee behind the wrist, and then the leg stays underneath us. Slide that right leg long behind you. So you can see it better on this side. That I've got my heel underneath my bottom and the leg is directly here. You can always pop something like a blanket underneath if it's too much on the knees, or go for the regular pigeon if it feels a lot better for you. Okay, so inhale, take the arms a bit further forward. Can you sneak that right leg a bit further back to really sink down? And then carefully lower yourself onto your forearms. So we're staying on forearms rather than laying down completely. Now push into the top of that right foot. So your right knee can lift off the mat. And if you rock over so your right hip goes towards the floor, you'll get a really good, juicy hip flexor stretch. Try and keep your neck, your shoulders relaxed. So we're just working into the hips. So the right leg is working quite hard in this posture. So it might start to, you might feel it in that leg, but really try to find the spot where that stretch is at its best. Good. And then release the knee down. So relax that leg. Keep the right arm as it is. So the right heel, comes up towards your bottom. And then the left hand's going to reach back and see if we can get hold of it. And if we can, we're going to try and bring the heel towards our bottom, but square your hips forward. So we don't want to be opening. Keep your shoulders pointing forwards and just pull that heel in. Push your hips down towards the mat and you should deepen that stretch into the front of the quad muscle. So pulling it in towards your bottom, just take a few breaths like this. Well done. And then carefully release. Bring your hands back under your shoulders. Tuck your back toe under. And let's find our final downward facing dog. Just having a little wiggle out of the legs to release. So lifting up onto your toes and pushing the heels to the floor. Whatever movements feel nice, just to release, maybe a twist through the hips. And then from there, let's bring yourself into a seated position on the mat. So come down to seated for me. Bringing your knees into your chest, feet are hip distance apart, reach your arms forward, lift the chest. So think about really lengthening up through the spine, rocking back, keep that spine long, rock back, lift the legs. We can hold the back of the thighs if we need to, but it's the length in the spine that we're looking for. Legs come parallel to the mat. See if you can straighten one of your legs and then bend and then the other one. Just alternating leg lifts. Keep that spine nice and tall, the chest lifted, the core should be working for you. Give me 2 more on each leg. So depending which leg you started with, hope you can remember. When you've done 2 more on each leg, just bring it back to center and then release yourself all the way down to the mat. Well done. Bring your knees into your chest. Let's give yourself a little hug. Have a rock from side to side. So all we're going to do today for an inversion is a gentle waterfall posture. So if you have something, whether it's a block or a book or a cushion or anything, place it underneath your sacrum. So underneath the lower back. If you haven't got anything, you can just make a diamond with your hands by bringing your thumb and forefinger together and popping those under there, and that will help to support. So popping something underneath your bottom and then just raising your legs up towards the sky. Have a softness through the knees. You have worked your hamstrings quite a lot, so you may feel your legs get a little bit shaky. So soften the knees to try and release that. Make sure as much of your shoulders are spread out on the floor as possible. Take your arms out by your sides. Let your feet relax, let your legs relax. Just enjoy this sensation of the inversion through your body. Take a nice big inhale here. And all I need you to do now is close your eyes. Just close down the eyes and just breathe. So this is going to be our final posture. If you don't want to stay in this, you can always just bend your knees and bring your feet onto the floor and then let your knees just knock together and stay like that. We're going to be here for about just less than 2 minutes. But as I've said before, all inversions are really beneficial because they just get rid of any toxins or any waste products that we store in our lower body, which when we sit and we stand so much, they accumulate over time. So it's good to just flush out that system. So if you are comfortable like this, just zone out, close your eyes and just zone out. Let the legs just hang above you. Let your arms hang next to you when you're standing. Just try to allow the legs just to be there. Let your breath return back to its normal rhythm. And just notice it moving in and around the body. Is there any parts of the body where you can feel sensation, whether it's like pins and needles or tingling, maybe in your feet, with them being in the air? Maybe you can feel something in your hips. Just see what's going on. Can you feel energy moving around in any particular part of you? Allow gravity to take effect, especially on the upper body and especially on the face. So let those muscles just relax and be soft. With each exhale, let your shoulders melt more and deeper into the mat. Remember your reason, your focus that you set at the start of your practice, your intention, why you came to your mat. Just bring that back into the front of the mind. Maybe it's something that you can take forward with you to continue working on throughout the day, the rest of the evening, the rest of the week perhaps. My intention for this week is to really connect with my breath. Because as anxiety can often rear its head in my world, my breath is so important to help just to keep that under control and to keep it at bay. And sometimes just to be aware of the breath can be such a powerful tool. So taking time, whether it's with your legs in the air or whether you're just standing or sitting, but every now and again to just connect and acknowledge what's going on with the breath. Try and do it every day if you can. Okay, so if your legs are still in the air, just bend your knees and bring your knees into your chest. And then slowly lower your feet down towards the mat. If you've still got a block or something underneath your hips, just raise your hips up and remove it out of the way so we can bring the spine back to the floor, keeping the knees bent. Just knock the knees from side to side, so as if you're windscreen wiping the legs one way then the other. So just slow movements one way and then the other. Lovely. And then extend the legs long, take your arms up and overhead, take a full body stretch. So reach the arms back, point the toes forward. Take a breath in. As you exhale, bring your knees into your chest and give yourself a little hug. Let's roll over onto the right side into like a fetal position. So just rocking over carefully. Just pause for a breath or two there. And then when you are ready, bring yourself back up into seated. Nice and steady. There's no rush. We'll meet in a seated position to conclude our practice together. So arriving with a tall spine, relaxed shoulders like you did at the beginning. Length through the back of the neck. Hands into prayer at heart center. Once more acknowledging why you came to your mat today. Giving thanks to everybody who has shared this space with you for your practice. I thank you all for joining me. It's been a pleasure to guide you. Namaste.